What's up, everybody? As you can see, the weather sucks. We decided to make the executive decision about 5 minutes ago. Come down and count maple trees, see where we're at for the year, see what made it through the last summer storm, and yeah, try to get everything off before season starts. So we're gonna take you for a walk through the woods.
You okay? This will be our 5th year tapping our maple trees on our property. Follow us on Instagram. You've probably seen little bits and pieces of that, but this year we're going to show the full process. We do it very cheap, so it's very budget friendly. This is the base of our property, and a few years ago it did get hit by a derecho and a tornado in one night, so a lot of our maple trees did fall. You can see it's still a pretty big mess down here. So in the past we spray painted markings on a few of our trees so it'd be easier to tap, and it lets us know where we had drilled previously.
So as you can see by the hole here, this is somewhere where we drilled previously, probably one of the first years we were here, and we didn't take care of the hole like we were supposed to. Normally you would fill the hole with some sort of like candle wax or something just to prevent insects from getting in and causing any damage to the tree. If you were to look at other holes, you would see that they are taken care of. So if you see right here, we have another mark, and then this right here used to be a hole, and it's completely healed over. Tapping the trees normally doesn't do any damage if you take the proper steps to ensure that the tree is taken care of once tapping season is over.
So one of the key rules is that you want to alternate where you tap on your tree every year. So we did it one year on this side and then the other year on the other side. You don't want to tap in the same spot 2 years in a row. You want them about 3 feet off the ground and above a big root. So right there and about 3 feet up.
This tree right here is about the size that we would put 2 taps on, meaning that we would run 2 buckets on the tree during one season, normally on opposite sides of the tree. And if you look behind me, the tree back here, it's not a lot smaller, but it is smaller. This would be normally like a 1 bucket tree. You can probably get away with 2 of them on it, but running 1 just seems to be a better route for a tree about this size. We have another tree further down the trail we'll show you guys that we have put 3 buckets on before, and it has produced upwards of 12 gallons of sap a day. Okay, so this is a tree we call Grandpa Maple. He is the biggest sugar maple we have on property. We did have a bigger one that we went by Grandma Maple. She fell when we had the derecho winds like 3 years ago. This tree is very large. I'm not sure if it's actual DBH, but I know I can't get my arms all the way around it. He is definitely big enough that we can run 3 taps on him, and he does just fine. Yeah, we have lost a few branches off of him. As you can see, they're kind of laying on the ground. This right here on the ground was a branch from him at one point in time, pretty far up. As of now, though, there's no signs of rot or anything from him. I know this limb right here is starting to look rough. We did take last year off. We didn't tap him at all. We were kind of worried that he was getting kind of rough due to the storms we've had and everything. I think this year, though, we are going to give him a shot and see what happens. So when you're looking for sugar maple, they are going to usually appear in a stand, whereas when you find one, you're going to find numerous of them. If you look behind me, these aren't sugar maple, but it's a very good observation of what I'm talking about. All these trees off in the distance with the gray bark, they're all tulip poplar. So that's a good visual representation of what I'm saying when trees grow in like stands like this. You're never really going to find just one. There'll normally be multiples. And yeah, we're gonna start heading back now through our property and start counting maple trees. So the reason we call it Grandma Maple was at our property where the wood line starts. She was at the very top of the property, and it goes downhill quite a bit of elevation as you go towards the bottom of our property. And it was our assumption that she was the first maple tree that we had, and everything else is a product of her. So when we all go on our way back, we'll show you exactly where Grandma Maple stood, and then we'll show you basically all of the maples that came from her.
Your baby. She's definitely named after Grandmother Willow in Pocahontas. So from Grandpa Maple and the 3 others around there, we have 6 taps. That one's 2 right there?
So that's going to be a total of 8 so far.
Okay.
Up here is another big tree. I did run 2 buckets off it. We actually forgot about it the first 2 years. And I apologize, I'm yelling, the wind's blowing crazy. We actually never tapped that tree up until I think last year or the year before, and it produced like crazy. So it's definitely worth putting 2 taps on that one and getting almost 10 gallons a day.
So how many can go on that? Probably 1 or 2.
We had, I don't know, I had reservations about this tree. It was starting to show some signs of rot. I think we ran 1 bucket on it last year and it did all right to begin with. Towards the end of the season though, it was really slowing down fast. We might just skip it all together. So we got another double right here, much like the one that I showed you guys a few minutes ago. This one's worth at least 1, maybe 2. So that puts us at up almost a dozen taps right now.
This is another hole that's healed up really well. You can see it right there. Yeah.
All right, so skip ahead a bit. Kids are starting to get cold. You see the trees behind me, the one with the tree stand in it, and then this one right here. That puts us at a total of 24. We'll obviously go through this again when we do start tapping and take you to probably each tree. If you go down to the woods over here a little further, we did have a few more, but those straight line winds that came through, after you knocked them down, you can see the one that's still bent over right there. And there's another one down there that I already cut up. When we first got the property, had we taken full advantage of it, we probably have nearly 30 taps we could run. So over on the tree line, over on the roadside, it's actually on the farthest north part of our property. And there are two or three maple trees over there. They're the size of grandpa maple. However, we can't tap them. I tried it 2 years ago and they don't produce. Reason being is our property's up on a hill, and as that grades down towards the road, it doesn't get enough sunlight and the trees don't get warm enough for them to actually start running sap. And I didn't think that'd be the thing. I kind of thought, you know, once they hit a certain temperature out that they would automatically start running. That wasn't the case. We tapped every single one and didn't get any sap from any of them. So as you can see behind me, the chicken coop right there was never really that visible up until a couple years ago when the Draco came through. That's actually the top of the hill before you go down to the woods of our property, and that's where Grandma Maple stood. We'll go up there. The root ball is actually still there. We'll go up there and show you just how big she was. All right, so I've got to sneak through the underbrush here to get just to where the root ball was of her. And I'm honestly surprised there's not something living in here. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'll flip this around and show you. So this is the root ball of Grandma Maple. She was just about equally as big as Grandpa Maple, which we showed you earlier. And what's crazy about Grandma Maple is she is actually the reason we got into tapping. So we were out here walking the property our first year here, and Allie went and looked up at the tree and she's like, "What's that coming out of the tree?" And being who we are, we tasted it. And sure enough, it was sap coming out of the tree. And we instantly ran to town and bought our first tapping supplies.
Now that we know how many taps we're going to be running, we're going to go inside and do an inventory so we can get our stuff ordered and make sure that it's ready and clean. In about 5 or 6 weeks, we're going to start tapping.